Story 1. Not being responsible with finances is a big one. She can be a great woman and fun to be with, but if she's a mess financially or has some other lifestyle problems, no way am I going to get my finances all mixed up in hers. I dated a compulsive shopper who would redecorate her apartment every couple of months despite being in credit card debt. Nope. Story 2. I dated a woman who was excellent girlfriend material. Fun, vivacious, great to party with, and pretty damn stunning. Unfortunately, she was also a functional alcoholic. Story 3. Lots of personal compatibility, but life compatibility is low. Marriage is about integrating your two lives in a way that works for you both. That's a taller ask than just seeing someone a couple of times a week. Story 4. Anything they make her undesirable as a lifetime partner. An easy example would be someone who is extremely financially irresponsible. She might be fun to be with, but legally binding yourself to her and taking on her debts would be a mistake. Story 5. A certain amount of selfishness, not compromising, and always wanting to win a fight. If her being right, even for the smallest things, is more important than the relationship, I am not going to base a marriage on this. The highest goal should be for both of us to love each other and want to stay together, not whether I bought 10 or 12 eggs. Story 6. Girlfriend is fun to spend time with. Wife is who you trust with the house, money, bills, and so on. Basically, a wife is someone you can trust to handle a lot more responsibility, and it's not always about fun. Story 7. Girlfriend material. We get along well enough without consideration of major issues. Wife material. We get along well enough and share the same values, goals, ideals, beliefs, etc. Story 8. My perspective is influenced by the fact that I was married previously, and so I guess I have the advantage of knowing what absolutely won't work for sustained happiness. I have been in relationships where we enjoyed being together immensely and definitely had a real spark, but one or more of these things told me it would be a bad idea to take it further. A lack of accountability for the choices she makes. A woman who demonstrates a tendency to consistently blame others for her problems, or who struggles with ever being able to accept the possibility she is wrong about something, is not for marriage. If she is genuinely mature, she understands that no problem can ever be solved unless both people are willing to admit it if a situation clearly indicates you were wrong. If she is mature, then she knows that wherever you are in life, you did that. Period. Blaming your circumstances on other people, even if they influence the situation significantly, is functionally admitting to helplessness and is indicative of a victim mindset. Because wasn't it your choices that put you in the situation that allowed that other person to affect you? Nobody wants to hear that, but the reason it is important is that regardless of whose fault anything is, it's your life and your job to clean it up. A lack of accountability usually comes with a tendency to get caught up in misplaced resentment, and I have no patience for that. Everybody lies sometimes for a lot of different reasons, but if her lies are about other men, her whereabouts, or money, she is a no for marriage. If, when called out on a lie, she resorts to telling more lies or plays the "yeah, well, what about you" game, she goes directly to the no pile. If a woman ever makes me doubt her honesty or fidelity, then she's done. Say what you want, but a woman who cannot guarantee honesty or fidelity is the same as a man who cannot provide or protect, worthless. I don't mean to say men shouldn't have to be honest or faithful. They absolutely should, just that those are the two primary things I believe a man cares most about in a long-term partner. Persistent mental health issues. If she has persistent problems with emotional regulation, angry or depressed frequently, and shows an inability to redirect herself, then I'm just not signing up for the long haul. We all have problems, but if a person's lack of resilience is so significant that they will let their problems spill over into every aspect of their life, or if they haven't figured out that a negative, pessimistic attitude only creates more of the same in your life, then they are never going to be what they could be. I'm talking about persistently self-defeating people here. We all have bad days. It would seem obvious, but it's happened to me before. An otherwise wonderful person who, in difficult moments, shows themselves to have any of the cluster B personality traits, such as lying, problems with impulse control, lack of empathy for others, a lack of long-term relationships in their life, etc., then no. And the last one, because I've given so many passes on this one and have regretted it every time, people who have cheated in the past, especially if it was more than once or with more than one partner. I honestly don't care what your reasons are. If you can do that and justify it in your head, You don't deserve to have someone invest in you emotionally. The only exception I might make is if decades have passed since the one time it happened, and you can tell me easily how and why you messed up and can honestly say you've never repeated the mistake. If it's recent, if you've done it more than once or in more than one relationship, I won't waste my time on you. Life is too short to deal with a broken unit. Story 9. In my experience, how they adapt to the changes life brings is crucial. Marriage and life in general requires some form of adaptability to the inevitable good or bad changes that come one's way. Are they someone who will hold it against you for these changes, or will they help in making the most of these changes for both of you? If they're the latter, that is truly wife material. The only issue is that it could take months for an opportunity to see that. So, it's kind of hard to discern girlfriend versus wife material early on, which is why I'm not really in the girlfriend material equals wife material camp. Story 10. Do you immediately roll to your side of the bed after you climax? If yes, then she's girlfriend material. Do you just want to hold her tightly and talk about events that have transpired in your life right after you climax? If yes, then she's clearly someone you want to be with on a forever basis, wife material. Story 11. Long-term, you want someone stable or reliable. A girlfriend is not forever, so it is okay if she is immature, materialistic, or has no goals. But few men would like to spend their adulthood permanently with them. Story 12. Girlfriend. Fun to be with, good sex, funny, feel comfortable spending time with her. Wife. All of the above, plus kind, respectful, and trustworthy. Respectful does not mean she calls the guy sir. It means she respects his boundaries, desires, and needs. Trustworthy does not mean I'm pretty confident she won't betray me. It means I have absolute confidence that even if our relationship didn't work out, she wouldn't claim domestic violence or child abuse for leverage in the divorce, take me for everything she could, and leave me having to pay her for over 21 years for the privilege of seeing my kids every other weekend while being otherwise cut out of their lives, all the while bad-mouthing me to the children. Story 13. To be fair, both should be the same if you are dating for the end goal. Outside of that, if she is loyal and supportive and understands compromise, that is all I need in my book. Story 14. There is no such thing as a woman who is girlfriend material but not wife material. Girlfriend is the precursor to wife. If you don't become a wife, you cease to be a girlfriend whether you know it or not. Story 15. Wife material means different things to different guys, but one common factor is having plans, I suppose. Like intentionality in what she's doing. Being in the relationship isn't just something that happened to her. It's something she wanted, something she thinks about and wants to be good at. This will probably, if kids are part of the picture, extend to being a parent. She's not going to act like the kids are something bothersome that just happened. Someone who's girlfriend material but not wife material might not have done any of that. She hasn't thought about what she's looking for in a partner, and probably hasn't thought about what she can add to a partnership. This isn't accusatory or anything. A lot of people just sort of pinball through their relationships. Story 16. Financially irresponsible, not aligned on goals, not career-oriented. Frankly, if I can't see myself marrying her within the first 3 months of dating, it won't work out. Story 17. Wife material. You can see yourself being best friends even when she's no longer hot. A girlfriend implies some longevity, with a commonality of interests and goals. Then there's friends with benefits, which doesn't need much of that. Lastly, a one-night stand usually requires attractiveness and alcohol. Story 18. Girlfriend equals a woman you trust enough to sleep with, spend time with, and feel reasonably fine with actively giving a part of yourself to. Wife equals the same as above, but continuity and scope are vastly increased. You trust them with finances, power of attorney, and to be worth betting half of your belongings on plus part of your future earnings after divorce. In most cases, you can just walk away from a girlfriend with no lasting major fallout. With a wife, your entire life often changes for the worse if you want to separate. You should only make a girlfriend a wife if you believe that whatever amount of time you are married will be worth far more to you than losing it and ending up in a bad position. Story 19. Well, the answer is, it's the guy. Let me explain. In my opinion, girlfriend material equals wife material. Therefore, if a guy does not want to make a girlfriend into a wife, then that guy does not intend to get married. Story 20. For me, being girlfriend material means being fun to be with, interesting, active, passionate, and a bit adventurous in bed. Wife material is more about being passionate but also tempered, accepting a give-and-take relationship, making compromises, not focusing on who's at fault for something, and instead focusing on fixing it. Girlfriends are for fun, wives are for life. Perfect woman is both. Story 21. Sit back, here we go. I just broke up with my ex. She is absolutely amazing and will always be special to me, but I struggle to see her as a wife. After 4 years of the same issues, finances, and being responsible with school or work, we never aligned. I started to push her away because I couldn't fake how I was feeling. I wanted to work it out, and she was always the one talking about marriage and hinting at it. Out of nowhere, after the high of us being in my best friend's wedding together, that night we got home, she broke up with me. She said she needed space, which then turned into never talking to me. She gave me a 2-hour phone call and said, "How is there more to say?" She already had another guy right away or a month later, someone she worked with. So, I was put in my place and disrespected plenty to know she wasn't the one for me, but it hurts. I always saw her as the one I'd be with my whole life. Even when it was hard, I wasn't going to leave. Now she's just out of my life and on to the next one. I said once she graduates college, where we met, we would get married, and even with that, she would fail classes or not turn projects in or complete them. Just repeated slaps to the face when my intentions from the beginning were marriage. Story 22. Nothing. They're your girlfriend until something happens that turns you away. I went into every relationship with the idea that maybe we would get married. Story 23. The gap between being good enough for a casual relationship but not for commitment is vast. Most women exist in that gap. If you are attractive and pleasant to be around, that's often considered sufficient for casual dating. To be considered marriage material, a woman has to be kind, responsible, trustworthy, accountable, and mentally stable. I don't think women fully appreciate how much a man has to trust a woman to marry her. For men, signing that contract is like handing a loaded gun to someone and having them pointed at your face every minute of every day for the rest of your life. The laws are so dangerous for men that he has to be very sure that the woman he has chosen is safe. Story 24. It is probably a maturity issue. I have had female friends who made the journey. At some point, they are no longer looking for a good time and are tired of heartbreak. They have identified adolescent behavior and learned to mature it. Please do not lose it, just tame it. Their heads do not swivel for every guy, shout of laughter, or wolf whistle or cat call. Story 25. For me, girlfriend material and wife material are one and the same. I should, at all points of going out with them, be willing to marry them if things keep going at the same rate. I do not like the idea of dating without me being able to see myself become married to that person. Story 26. I would say differing long-term goals, but then I would question why even get in a relationship if the parties aren't aligned. In the end, personally, it mostly boils down to views on kids, marriage, and faith. So realistically, I view girlfriend material and wife material the same. Any girlfriend I had, I went with the long-term goal of marrying her. Story 27. Had the right qualities but a different life plan. For example, kids versus no kids, wants to live somewhere else and the other doesn't. Lives for the day versus saves for long-term matters, wants to buy a house versus wants to spend all on traveling, etc. Story 28. In my opinion, I think this is a great reason to date around. You will get your heart broken. You might break some hearts. But once you find the one, you will know it and will not let it slip. Story 29. Girlfriends help your ego. Wives make your life better. One rides in the boat, the other grabs the oar and helps paddle. Often the wife is more plain in appearance than the girlfriend because she was selected on different criteria and for a different purpose. Story 30. There is no girlfriend material. There are friends with benefits. And wife material. Many women will talk themselves out of being a wife with specific tactics used to control men, such as emotional abuse. Story 31. I once dated an older lady. I was 25, and she was 32. The sex was crazy. She drank like a champ and paid for pretty much everything, meals, dates, etc. But man, was she miserable to be with. It was really sad, and I didn't have the mental maturity at the time to share that with her. I still think of her sometimes, wishing she's doing better. Story 32. It's time together and seeing how you two handle the challenges of life that determines whether she's wife or life partner material, or just another soul passing through your life that you spend time with. Story 33. I am married now, but in a previous relationship, she was a lot of fun but did not want to have kids. Fair enough. I'm not a traditional kind of guy, but I did want to have kids and have two nowadays. Before we reached the point of discussing that, she broke up for other reasons, but it was all amicable. I sincerely hope she is happy now.